Hello and welcome to Three Questions with my friend Carrington with us from Prospect Street Studio. How you doing this morning, Carrington?
I am doing well, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
So, Carrington, I was thinking about you the other day because I often see people take photography that they use for one piece of their marketing and try to use it across different platforms. And sometimes it doesn't always work, right?
Right.
Why not?
So, a lot of times when you're creating imagery, you are making it for a specific use. And there's obviously different aspect ratios and placement. And sometimes when you go from saying, hey, we're going to create all this content for social media, and then you say, hey, let's go put it on our website, it doesn't always translate as well because maybe your layout's different. Your messaging might be different in the flow. Your audience could be totally different than what you're seeing on social. So, thinking about, all right, you have a photo. What's the end use for it? Is it always just going to be something for social, or are you trying to make content that can cross platforms? Because if you're going to actually start making imagery that's going to cross platforms, you have to be a little bit more strategic about what your layout is and where is that use for it.
I'm kind of chuckling a little bit because I've done that.
Yep.
I had a photo I really liked. I'm like, oh, I want to make this my banner on my social media, on my website. And they're like, huh,
Yeah,
it didn't stretch.
it didn't work.
And I
Nope.
was like, so sad. I'm like, I really like this photo, but then you see that where people, it has significance. You really like the sunset or whatever it was, and then you put it and you're like, it's not really the image I'm trying to get across. So you
Yep.
have to think about how you're going to use it and where you're going to use it, right?
Yep. Yeah, definitely. For a story, I had a client and we were creating website imagery. And I strategically made here's your hero image, here's the images that go in as we're flowing through the homepage and on subpages. And then they took one of those photos and they decided, oh, we're going to use this for a trade show booth. And I contacted them later after I saw the booth. I'm like, all right, if we're going to start doing trade shows, we need to create a new photo. And they were like, why?
Hmm.
I was like, because everything in the photo is in the bottom third of the picture, and there's a table in
Hmm.
front of their banner. So the entire photo is invisible on the trade show booth. And I was like, the photo is great, and it fit the actual frame of the trade show booth, but the people walking by can't see it. So it's not adding you any value, even though the photo is there,
Yep.
right? So it's thinking about, okay, so that image worked really well to be the hero image on their website, but that did not translate well to be the trade show booth. So it's thinking about what are all the different options and how are you using them?
Yeah, that's the thing is, like you said, you may, when you originally took those photos, had no intention of ever doing a trade show.
Right.
This wasn't part of your marketing, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, here's a great opportunity to go out to do a show, and you're like, I want to do that. But you should step back and go to your photographer and say, okay, now we're going to make a trade booth, we need photos for that, or which one of these photos can we use in that? Is go for the expert who's been there, done that, versus, hey,
Right.
I just like to order a banner, naively like we all do, and then we get the banner and we're like, oof, that was a waste of money because it doesn't work and stuff. So always
Exactly.
back to the photographer and say, hey, we're changing, doing something new. Either what works or we need to take new photos. Fair?
Exactly. And for them, if you took the table out, it worked perfectly. It was great.
Yeah.
But the problem is they needed a table. And it's that extra thought process that like, oh, we just blocked everything that's important for somebody to see.
Yeah.
So it's not just thinking about like, oh, this looks nice, but what's the actual implementation of it?
Makes sense. So, Carrington, if people have questions about how to use photography across different platforms, what's the best way to reach out to you?
They can reach out to me on my website at prospectstreetstudio.com or they can email me at info@prospectstreetstudio.com. And that's singular, not plural.
Awesome. I appreciate taking a few minutes to call into the show. And as always, thanks for being my friend.
Thanks for having me.